Hello, and welcome to Your Brand Express podcast, the podcast where business owners, authors, coaches get a chance to articulate their processes and how they express their brands. With your hosts, Carl and CJ Aline. Get your favorite cup of coffee or tea and get a notepad and enjoy the ride. Are you a coach, author, speaker, or service provider who is afraid of speaking on camera? Join the Confident Video Star Nation to overcome your fear. Connect with other professionals, gain access to exclusive resources, trainings, and tools, and learn the skills to become a confident video star. Join now and start your journey to success. Go to Facebook and type in Confident Video Star Nation and join the nation today. All right. Okay, everyone, we are hanging out with the amazing, the wonderful Anza Goodbar. How are you, Anza?
I'm fabulous. How are you guys this morning?
We are great. How are you, CJ?
I'm well.
Awesome.
I'm actually well.
Yes. Yeah, we're great. It's great to have you on board. Was really looking forward to this and love see you online. Love your energy, love your spirit, and love what you communicate. And can't wait to talk to you about what you do.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm happy to be
Yes.
here and thrilled to have the opportunity to share.
Yes. Well, Anza, tell us a little bit about what you do. Tell our audience. We just to let you know, in our community, we deal with coaches, authors, speakers, service providers. Just helping people to be able to express their brands online. Specifically through camera.
Right.
But yeah, we want to know about what you do. It's about you.
I love it. It's about me. Woo! Well, your people are my people. I work with coaches, consultants, service providers, authors, wannabe authors, podcast hosts. And we do over here at Bankable Events is we help people grow their brand by hosting live events because we believe that live events are the number one way to grow your business. You get you in front of people, which helps you grow your know, like, and trust factor quicker. It positions you as an expert when you're hosting your own live event. It used to be if you wrote a book, everybody oohed and awed, but over COVID, everybody wrote a book, right? So it kind of took that down a little bit. And after COVID, everybody was longing for personal connection. And so it's like, let's pull people back together. Let's give them opportunities to connect and build relationship. It's really much more than just building community. That's really just a generic term. It's like, what does building community mean? Does that mean in person, real life people, or does that mean having a big Facebook group? There's a lot of ambiguity. It's about building relationship and connecting. And that's what we want to help people do. And of course, we want to help people drive revenue, and live events are a great way to do that. And so when we work with people in our business consulting hat and our business coaching hat, we help people build out a 3-year plan. And for those who want to make $1 million from their events, we put a plan together to help them generate the revenue through their events. And that isn't just looking at event sales, that's looking at what's your offer, how do you structure your offer, what are you selling into, how can you repurpose your content to drive revenue beyond the people who attend your event. And then, of course, we talk about the event content and make sure that you have engaging, entertaining, and fun content to be able to keep people involved. Nobody wants to go and just be talked at for 6 hours, 8 hours, 3 days. Right. It's about them. And so I'm going to kind of maybe jump ahead to some questions that you've prepared. But when people ask us, what do we need to look at to host an event? It's like, know your why. Why are you, as the event host, hosting your event? What's your purpose? What do you want to get out of this for you? But 2, who is this for? Because it's the who it's for that matters in your marketing. It matters in your content. It matters in your structure. It matters in your venue. And then what's in it for them? Why do they want to come? What's the big promise? What's the big takeaway? And so we encapsulize all of that as we work with our clients. And then I have a bunch of speakers that I'm connected to. So for people who are looking for speakers for their live events, we help match speakers and events and speakers on podcasts to help get the word out and to help promote. So we have lots going on over here. It's a lot of fun.
That's amazing.
A lot of fun.
It is. Wow. And I love what you said, where it's about knowing your who are you dealing with? You know, and it also, I love what you talked about. It's not just community, it's relationship, building relationships. And that's so personal, you know, because, you know, even in the marketing side of things, it's so easy to be impersonal. It's so easy to miss the mark, so to speak, when it comes to communicating and you know, speaking to your audience and just I think about having a party. I can't help it. That's our family. We love parties, right? So we're thinking about all the details of the party. Got to get the chips, got to get the dip, got to get the food. Hey, you guys having a good time? Okay, what do you guys need? Okay, I'm coming right back. And it's all a revolving cycle of things going on, and it's fun and it's engaging. So that's, you know, it made me think about that as well.
Right. Yeah, I think just with business, it's so easy to confuse business with relationships. Like you could try to make it like, oh no, I gotta make sure that I'm doing it this way formally, but you know, you can make it fun, have a party. Like you said, I like that example of like a party. You want to make sure that everybody's taken care of, they're good, paid attention to too, because you don't want to just treat it like oh, this is my business. You guys are just, you know, but you guys are my friends. You guys are family, you know. That's great.
Right.
Well, you know, for those of us who are entrepreneurs, our business is our life, you know, so we want it to be fun. We want it to be energizing, not energy sucking, which we all go through that up and down where, man, my business is really hard. But you know what? It doesn't have to be. When we collaborate with other people and we have the right energy and the right attitude and the right strategy, you know, you can transform your business into a lot of different things. You can expand and reach out and do things that you never thought. You know, years ago, I owned a mortgage business and I thought of myself as a local business owner. I never dreamed that I would have a global reach. Never in a million years. And when the industry crashed in 2008 and I had to find something else to do, all of a sudden technology opened up this whole new world. And then COVID happened and, you know, even more opportunities opened up because you weren't confined any longer by your local boundaries or your brick and mortar. You could reach anybody through, you know, virtual events, even now through hybrid events. There's lots and lots of opportunities to utilize different types of events. And, you know, some people come to me and they're like, oh, events are so expensive. I don't have a budget. I can't do that. I'm going to give you an example of what I did years ago in my mortgage business. We did free community events. We catered to subprime buyers who had difficult credit histories and made it impossible for some lenders to close them. And so we started hosting events to bring in potential buyers to say, hey, this is what you need to do to get financed. We brought in title people, we brought in realtors, we brought in home appraisers, home inspectors. So everybody who was the process of getting a loan closed was there, and we could educate people and we could add value to them. And we built relationship with people in our community. We built a 100% referral based business.
Wow.
That, you know, because when people didn't think they could be closed and that they could ever own a home, when they did get to the closing table and they had keys in their hand, they were telling everybody about us, right? Realtors who had deals that fell through the cracks, they went to the closing and then it didn't happen. They started coming to us saying, we've got nothing to lose. It didn't close. Let's just do a Hail Mary. And so, you know, again, we had realtors that were talking. We had home inspectors that were talking. You know, it's a small community. And you can do that in your own business. You can take your book and turn it into a workshop. That doesn't cost a lot of money to do a workshop and then have a valuable offer to sell into. You know, can you drop a lot of money on live events? Absolutely, you can. Absolutely, you can. I have clients who have spent tens of thousands of dollars on big name people like Kris Jenner, like Mr. Lemonis from The Prophet, like Mel Robbins. They've brought them in. That doesn't always bring in more revenue. It doesn't always bring in more revenue. And that's an important thing, is that you are enough to bring people into your event. You don't necessarily have to have the big wow name in order to have a profitable event or to have a filled event. And that's one of the biggest things that clients that we work with struggle with. I don't have a big name. I don't have the celebrity factor. I don't have 3,000 people in a Facebook group. You know, at the beginning of the year, I always go through and clean out my Facebook because somehow I end up in millions of groups that I never go into. And, you know, one of the business models out there is grow a giant Facebook community and you can make millions of dollars. And do you know that there were 75 groups that I was a part of that had more than 30,000 people? All of those groups had closed down.
Wow.
All of those groups had closed down. So what does that tell me? That tells me it's not about having community, right? Who can keep up with 30,000 people in a group?
Right.
You can't. You cannot physically touch them. Even if you are, you know, spending 24 hours a day in your group between admins and moderators, you can't reach all those people. There's no way. And so it's better, in my opinion, to have a smaller group of people, whether online or in person, that you can touch, that you can know, that you can help. Because it isn't about cookie cutter kind of solutions that change people's lives or their businesses. It's about custom tailor-made solutions to the problems that they are specifically facing in their business. And we can't do that if we don't know who we're talking to.
Right.
We can't. You know, you can have this idea, you can have this general umbrella, but again, if you're being general and not specific, people don't feel seen or heard or understood. You can't, you know, give somebody real advice that's going to make a difference if you're talking in general terms. You know, it's like putting the dots up on a connect the dot puzzle, but not giving anybody numbers or letters to know the path to follow, to say, hey, today we're making a kitty face, right? You could just have a bunch of swirls and, you know, it might be a great piece of art, but it's not going to be a kitty face. If that's the goal that you're working for, you're going to be really disappointed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that is such great value, Anza. You know, and I love what you talked about. Wow, that I'm reflecting on what you said. This be like not having a huge Facebook group, but having a small one. That's enough. I want to say that, but my brain's making me go back to say this when you speak to the individual to say that you're enough.
Right.
When you said that, I was like, "Woo, that's a value bomb! 2 value bombs right there." You threw like 3 in one bomb. How did you do that? You know, but it makes me that's so important because even with what we do with we have a program called Confident Video Star, and what we try to do is educate people to say, yeah, you are enough.
Right.
Let's focus on the skill sets. Don't focus on what's in front of you, which is like other people who you could get distracted by and what other companies are doing or other coaches are doing. Focus on the skill sets and build and have fun with it and know your abilities, because we all have the same abilities, but if we got to take the steps, that's the challenge right there. But it's hard to take the steps if you're so busy looking at other people and not looking at what you can do in your abilities. And I think in my background, I'm a performing artist as well. And I've worked with celebrities and stuff like that. And I even found that too when I was working in that industry. It's so easy to get focused on people and the big names and things like that. When hey, I could do the same thing. Doesn't have to be on that level, but I can make the moves I want to make and I just got to have the vision and take the steps. So I love that.
That's
wow.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, you only need to be a couple steps ahead of who you're teaching and who you're bringing in. And as you bring them along, you're moving along, and then you're attracting higher level people into your network at the same time. And
Right.
you're absolutely right. When I did events, I worked with some big name people: Stephen Curtis Chapman, Michael W. Smith, Rod Stewart, Kool and the Gang. And we had the same conversations that you and I are having right here. They still compare themselves to others. They still have self-doubt. They still have negative self-talk. And, they have to have that positive energy going in. And at the root of it all, it is, I am enough. I've got this. I can do it, because we all have days where it's like, let's face it, we don't feel like doing it. We don't feel like showing up, but we've got an obligation. And so you've got to figure out that self-talk to say, I need to show up for me, the
Right.
best that I can for me. And when I show up for me, I'm showing up for my people.
Ooh, that right
Key.
there. Ooh,
That's
CJ,
key.
you catch that?
That's key.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because man,
You know,
you could be so worried about making sure that you're there for everybody, but if you're not there for you, it's just gonna be like a you.
right.
I don't even, it's just not you. It's not gonna be you. It's gonna
Right.
show in different aspects. So I like how you said that, like what that kind of resembles. Like, I took that home. I took that home
Yay.
as showing up for myself.
And that's a big
Well,
deal because, okay.
I was going to say that feeds into the idea of self-care, right? We think, oh,
Hmm.
we don't have time for
There you
self-care. I
go.
can't do this. I'm too busy. It's selfish. It's this or that. That's how you show up for yourself. You take care of yourself by eating right, by getting enough sleep, by surrounding yourself with the right people. So when you're having those days where, man, I can't do it. I have a little group of ladies that are in my inner circle, and I was putting out my first book, The Art of Planning Live Events. And I was dealing with all kinds of head games. And I just wrote to my ladies. We have a little chat group. And I said, hey, I need you guys to tell me this. I'm telling myself this and I'm not believing the story I'm telling. So I need someone else to mirror this back to me. And I'll tell you what, all of a sudden it was like, all right, I can push submit. I can make this book go live. I can show up in the world in a bigger space. Because sometimes, we get in our head and you think, oh, what if I'm judged? What if people laugh at me? What if I get a bad review? What if, I'm a laughing stock among my friends? We all have those thoughts.
Right.
We all have those thoughts. And that's okay. That's part of the human condition, right? But it's being
True.
able to say, you know what? It's okay if people laugh at me. It's okay if other people don't think I'm enough. It's what I think that matters.
Right.
I don't know if you know this, but I'm a John Maxwell certified coach, trainer, and speaker. And one of the mentors in the group, his name is Roddy Galbraith, and he's the speaker coach. And one day we were having that conversation, and he said, Anza, it doesn't matter what anybody thinks or says about you. In fact, it's none of your business.
Mm.
And I
Yeah.
was like, huh, really? Because I feel like it is my business. He said, doesn't matter. It's what's going on in here that's your business. This is what you can control. This is what you can focus on. Anything out there you have zero control over. So put it out of your
Mhm.
mind and don't even think about it. I'm doing a writing project with my 10-year-old granddaughter. And, I take adult clients through this process all the time. And I hear the self-doubt. I hear the same stories that I just shared with you that I went through. And we did a 10-day book writing challenge this summer. And she's like, yeah, if you could do it, I could do it. So I was like,
Love
yes, you
it.
could. We wrote a book in 10 days.
Wow.
Do you know? I know, I'm so excited about it. Do you know, not once did she say, what would somebody else think about this? Not once did she say, I don't know if
Ooh.
I could do this. Not once did she say, what if somebody said this or that? You know what she did say to me was, I want to be a journalist and a writer when I grow up. And
Mm.
I actually think this could happen.
Wow.
So
Wow.
as adults, if we could encapsulate that kind of thinking into our own heart and mind, how much more could we do? How much more impact could we make? How many
Mm.
more lives could we change if we
Mm.
said, I actually think that could happen? I
Right.
actually think I could make a difference with my book, my speech, my podcast, my event. whatever that thing is in your life and business. And I'm
Mm.
just, man, I'm so inspired and encouraged by this little life who's just like, yeah, I could do whatever I want. I could do whatever I want because I
Oof.
want to do it. I know I'm equipped.
Mm.
I know I'm enough. It's
Yes.
really
Anza, say it
powerful
again.
stuff.
Say it again. Yes. Yes.
You know, it's simple, or
Yeah.
but it's not easy, right?
Right.
I was a competitive ballroom dancer for several years, and
Wow.
I trained with an amazing Russian dancer, and he would tell me all the time, Anza, dancing is simple, but technique isn't easy.
Mm.
And that's, you know, the same thing with business principles. The principles of growing your business are simple, but doing it isn't always easy.
Right.
But that's okay. It doesn't have to be easy.
Right.
You
Right.
just have to be consistent, and you have to show up for yourself.
Yes. Show
Yeah.
up for yourself. You know,
Show
it's
up
interesting
for
because
yourself.
society teaches, okay, you got to do this for other people. It's not about you. Do
Right.
this for other people.
Right.
And I hear that. I hear that a lot in so many different places. But the
Mhm.
challenge is you leave you out of it. And how are you going to take care of people if you can't take care of yourself?
That's exactly right.
Simple.
You
Yeah,
know?
that's
And
exactly right.
and it's like what happens, it ends up being like a form of self-sabotage when
Mhm.
we're talking about taking care of people. And it's good
Mhm.
intentions, but if we
Mhm.
don't focus on us and take care of ourselves, we're not able to be at our fullest potential where we can take care of other people.
Right.
You
So
know, that's absolutely true. Many years ago, I worked for a Christian ministry, and I had one of those bosses who wanted to be all things to all people at all times.
mm,
And he broke. He broke.
wow.
He was fine. He appeared fine. And then he had a breakdown. He said,
Wow.
I am a tube of toothpaste that has been all rolled up. There's nothing left in my tube to give. I've got
Wow.
nothing. It was scary. It was a huge wake up call because he was the glue that held everyone together. Hey, are you guys okay? What do you need? How can I serve you? How can I do this? How can I do that? And, you know, give, 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 give. But he wasn't doing anything to feed himself and take care of himself. And, you know, it was to the point where his wife didn't even know what was going on because he took care of all the bills, he took care of all the maintenance, the whole thing. She never had to think about anything. And she was like, Ansa, I don't even know who our checking account is with. I don't know who
Wow.
our mortgage is with. I have
Wow.
no idea what to do because he had taken care of everything. And it took a long time for him to heal and to come back to, you know, normalcy. And I
Right.
think that's a really important thing for us to think about is we need to manage not just our time, but our energy. We need
Mm.
to
Mm.
replenish and refresh, you know, whatever that means. And, you know, as an introvert, when I do even a podcast like this, you know, you're not.
I
No, you're
am.
not.
I sure am. I sure am. I'll let you finish and I'll let you know.
I was going to say, I have to have time in the morning before I get on it, you know, to build up my energy for it. And I'm going to have some time afterwards to, you know, rebuild my energy because it is an energy intense experience. I don't want to say energy sucking, but it uses a lot of energy to show up and, you know, and speak. I love doing it. I do, but it takes preparation. I am,
Right.
you know, and if I go to a networking event, I mean, that's like death for me. I can't work a room. That is not how I am wired. So I have to have a goal. It's like I'm going to have meet three people. These are three things that I want to know. You know, these are connections that I want to make. Then I'm out. I'm out. I
Mm.
can't do 4 or 5 hours of it. It's too much. And
Mm.
Right.
I take my introvert friends with me. So, you know, we've got accountability. We do our thing, we come back together.
Smart.
Okay, we made it. We made it. We
Smart.
did it, you know.
Smart.
Yeah. You've got to have a strategy. You've got to know who
That's
you
smart.
are. Um,
Ooh.
I found if I take an extrovert friend with me, oh dear Lord, it's a
Mm-hmm.
different experience because they got to touch and see everybody. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
no, I can't do it. I can't do it.
As
I
the
like
singer
the
says,
go
I'll say,
ahead.
as the singer says, well, that's
Exactly.
it.
Exactly.
Oof.
Oh my goodness.
Are we gonna say something else? I didn't want to cut you off right there. Wow, that just for the record, I am an introvert, but what I love about what you did with being an introvert, because being an introvert is very special, because that means you have insight in so many things while everyone's moving, going, and there's so much going on. You're able to pay attention to what's going on and see and read the room, you know,
Exactly. Exactly.
and to have
Introverts see and hear what's not being said.
Woo!
And there's
say it again. Say it again.
I know, right? We hear what's not or we see what's not said. Yeah, we do. We read between the lines. And there's so much communication that happens that isn't said.
Right.
And people, and I don't know about you, but if I'm in a room, I'm the wallflower. And people will gravitate over and tell me their story. If I'm in the grocery store line, you can better believe that somebody is telling me what's going on. If I'm sitting on a plane, that person next to me just feels like they've got to tell me all their inner secrets.
Wow.
And I love
deep.
that.
That's deep.
I love that because I don't have to go out and solicit any of that to build relationships. I do a lot of volunteering over at my granddaughter's school during the school year. And so sometimes I'll go work at the library before I go over and do the shift because it's just down the street. And I have people that come up to me and say, I don't know why, but I think I need to work with you. What are you doing? What do you even do? They don't even know. They're like just observing a phone call or what I'm doing. It's like, I need to be connected to you. And I think that maybe doesn't happen as often with extroverts, but there's a connection factor that I think introverts have that's really special that draws people to them.
I think it's like a energy thing, like a actual energy thing. Because you can how like sometimes someone can step in the room and it just feels like a whole different vibe, but that was just at work. I really think it's an energy thing where introverts can I love this conversation, by the way. I think
too. Oh my gosh.
I think just it's a thing where introverts can kind of disconnect energy wise, and you can kind of feel it, and it makes everything just feel better when you step in the room.
It does. Right. I call that the Oprah effect. When she walks in, she's like, "Oh, here, I'm never going to be that person, but I want to have that energy that goes in, like you said, that there's a shift, like something's different. I need to know what that is, I
love that. That's so deep. I mean, like my experience of being an introvert too. And I know we talk about live event, that's the topic, but this is important because this is about relationships and how we connect with people. I've learned throughout being in the entertainment industry for 33 years how to connect and make it happen with people, because if I don't, I'm not going to be on the tour, or I'm not going to be in the video or the movie or whatever, right. But in between those times, like on a Sunday, for example, I'm napping, like even after church, where's Dad at? Right, CJ? Where's that? He's napping. He's napping or doing something fun. Why are you napping in the middle? I'm napping because I'm napping. You were nice in the way you said it, but I'm like, look, I got the energy sucked out of me.
I know, because sometimes that's how it feels.
That's how it feels. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was deep what you said too. Even when you're somewhere and you could be sitting against a wall and people feel attracted to you, or they're it reminds me, like even when communicating, one thing we teach is that a big percentage of your communication aren't the words.
Right.
It's your body, it's your facial expression, it's your body, it's how you carry yourself. And so it's so deep. It's the energy you bring. That's so cool.
Yeah, it really is. And, I mean, kind of talking about the whole live event thing, oftentimes clients of mine who are introverts are like, you know what? I can't do it. I'm an introvert. I'm not going to be up there and be entertaining and rah, rah and moving around. That's not who I am. And I said, I think of myself as the James Taylor speaker, right? I want a stool. I want a chair. I want to sit down. I want to be eye level. I want to bring people in. Right. I have a client who has ADHD, and I'll tell you, he is all over the place, back and forth across the stage, jumping up and down, clapping his hands. I mean, and it's wonderful. I love watching him. I love his energy. But sometimes I can say, man, I wish I was like that. But if I tried to get on stage and be like that, it would come across as inauthentic, disingenuous, fake, and nobody would connect with me. Nobody
Right.
would connect with me. And so we have to be really careful when we think about what we bring to the table and what we don't bring to the table, and say it's okay because I'm bringing me to the table.
Yeah.
They're coming because I have something unique about myself, about my presentation style, about the value that I bring, the experience I bring that nobody else brings. And, when I look at what I do in my business, I have 20 years of live event planning experience. I've done over 4,000 events, and I've helped raise more than $100 million for my clients through live events. I have 20 years of entrepreneurial experience with lots of different industries. My family has owned, I think, 7 different businesses over the last 20 years, 7 or 8.
Nice.
We've done everything from solar to window washing businesses to marketing and packaging to wholesale distribution to video rental. We've done brick and mortar, we've done online. You're not going to talk to anybody out there who has that set of experience. You're not. I'm the only one. I'm a unicorn, right? We all want to be a unicorn in our own right, right? If you follow Russell Brunson and ClickFunnels, he talks about the blue ocean, right? A unicorn, a blue ocean, it's the same thing. You don't want to be a carousel ride at the fair that is stationary horses going up and down and around in a circle, and you're all doing the same thing simultaneously. And oh my gosh, you don't stand out. No, you want to be that unicorn that's out there saying, whoa, what's that? I want what she has. I want what he has. How do I get that? You don't get that by riding on the carousel.
That's
You don't.
right.
You
That's right.
don't.
Or you want
And
to be
so
the
we have
ballroom
to.
dancer, who has that flashy dress on that's different from everyone else.
Yes.
Work it out, girl. Work it out.
That was my dream. And I'll tell you, that was my dream from the time I was like 7 years old. I used to watch ballroom dance sport on TV on PBS as a kid. And I was like, I want to be that beautiful woman being whisked around the room by a man in tails. I just thought that would be great. But you know what? I was born with no sense of rhythm. My babies wouldn't even let me clap at church. They'd say, no, mama, no. They would reach out and grab my hand because I'm like, no. So I just stand there and they're like, no, you can't even, go to the beat. So when I went and found a dance teacher, he said, if you can walk, I can teach you to dance. I said, I don't know. I don't know if you know what you're getting into. I said, walking and chewing gum together? Probably not gonna happen. I'm gonna fall down. He said, we won't let you chew gum, but if you can walk, you can dance. And within 4 months, I was in my first dance competition and I won some ribbons. All
right,
So
now.
that's right. Don't let people tell you can't do something. You might think I can't do that because somebody told me XYZ. My ex-husband was a dance teacher and he couldn't teach me how to dance. There were people in restaurants when he was trying to teach me how to dance. They'd say, oh, honey. And I was like, I'm so disappointed because I really, really wanted it. But sometimes it's finding the right person who can speak in terms that you understand.
Yeah.
I know, right? Because I'll tell you what, my dance coach didn't tell me anything that my ex-husband didn't tell me. When you look at the root of the message, it was how he demonstrated it, how he communicated his encouragement. He had little songs he would sing to me. You can do it, put your back into it. You can do it. And so I'd be like, oh yeah, I could do it, And we would talk about the different beat of the music and what kind of dance went with that beat. Nobody else had told me that. I didn't know that you couldn't cha-cha to a foxtrot. I didn't know.
Wow.
You can't. And there's a reason why you can't. But it matters. That's why we have to go back to the foundation of what we're doing, whether it's ballroom dancing, whether it's building a business, whether it's planning and executing a profitable live event. It's all about building a foundation. It's all about finding the person who can tailor make a specific solution to the problem that you're facing.
Mm.
You know, I had almost given up on that dream. I was 42 years old when I finally started dancing. That was a long time for that dream to percolate. And in the back of my mind, you know, people are going to laugh. My daughter had a cell phone and she's sitting here, and my kids are all grown, and she's doing a video. She's like, y'all, mama's really dancing. Look at this. She's doing it. She hasn't fallen down. You know, I'm getting this little color commentary going on while I'm taking my first dance lessons. And then, you know, when I did the first dance competition, you know, my kids were cheering louder than anybody else in the ballroom. It was like, yeah, those are my kids. They got my back. They're here cheering me on. It didn't matter if everybody else was laughing, saying, you know what, she wasn't totally on beat, or her Cuban motion wasn't exactly right. I didn't hear any of that nonsense. All I heard were my kids saying, hey, I'm so proud of you. And when you're in business, you want to surround your people who are saying, it's okay. We don't always figure it out on the right try. Sometimes we got to try lots of different things, you know, whether it's designing the right avatar, creating the right marketing plan, figuring out what social media outlets to be on, how to write the content that matters to our people. There's a lot of trial and error there, and that's okay. The thing is, you've got to show up. The thing is, you've got to take action, because momentum doesn't start from inaction. So even if it's imperfect action, you've got to show up and build and learn and grow and stretch and take some risks, because that's where the magic sauce is, right? And surrounding yourself with great energy, you know, bringing those people in and collaborating and asking questions, making partnerships. Because just because you're in business by yourself or for yourself doesn't mean you have to do it by yourself. Years ago, I used to sell Mary Kay Cosmetics. And one of the things that they taught us is, we're going to believe in you until you believe in yourself.
Wow.
And so you want to have those kind of people. If you haven't read Mary Kay Ash's book, even though you guys are guys,
hey, I'll read it.
A lot of really great principles in there as she tells her story about how she created the company, the Go Give spirit.
Write it down.
It's a wonderful book, and it's a short read. But it's wonderful.
Mary Kay Ash.
You know, Mary Kay Ash. Yep.
We'll check that out. Love it.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. It's a great story. She did a lot of things that women didn't do in her day. You know, some of the things we think, oh, women do that all the time now. You know, back when she was creating Mary Kay Cosmetics, she was a trailblazer. She did a lot of things with a lot of people being naysayers in her world. And she's a role model of mine. I love her to death.
I appreciate you being so motivating. If I wasn't standing already, I would have stood up already. I would have been, okay, let me stand up now, but I'm already standing. So
I'm taking like visual internal notes right now. You know, there's a lot of gems. You know, anybody watch this podcast, I would kind of make sure you listen to everything, because there's a lot of, you know, gems in here on self-confidence, you know, doing things for yourself. So many things that, you know, she said is amazing.
Right. CJ, you have another question?
I got a question for you. How can service providers promote their events and make sure they reach the right audience?
That is an excellent question. That is one of the biggest struggles that my clients have. And, you know, the truth of the matter is, it depends on what kind of event you're promoting. So let's say that you are a coach and you want to host a retreat. You're going to want to reach out to people who know you, who are in your circle, who know of you. And you're going to want to do personal invitations. Hey, I'm doing this retreat, and I really think this would be great for you, because I'm bringing other people. I primarily work with women, so other women who are coming to this event to work on XYZ. I think that you would add, you know, this level of value to the group, and I think that you would get this kind of a result. That is one of the best tactics, because retreats are relatively small. Usually there are 10 women or fewer. And so typically people know. Now, do you want to build buzz around that? Absolutely. You're going to want to be out on social media. You're going to be wanting to talk about what you're doing. And the reason for that is not because you're going to get more people necessarily to sign up, but because you're letting people know what you're doing. You're letting people know I'm an expert at what I do. I host events. I bring people in. We work one-on-one. We do intense transformation or whatever it is that you offer at your event. And so that's really important. If you're doing like a live workshop in your area, or maybe you're doing a conference style event, you're going to want to do some kind of a press release and get the word out. You're going to want to have people who partner with you in the local area. One of the things that I have found is that a lot of people have huge followings, but not necessarily followings in their local area. So you need to think about, what's the demographic of my people? Can they afford to travel to me? If they can't afford to travel, you need to figure out a ground game, is what I call it. So reach out to different people who are business owners that deal with a similar clientele to you. Get with your libraries. They let you post events. Make sure that you're choosing an event space that allows you to promote. One of my clients recently did a workshop at an event center, right? Wouldn't you think an event center would want people to come to their event center for an event? Yeah, no, wouldn't let her promote. They wouldn't put it on their calendar. And it was like, what's up with that? So you want to make sure that even if you're going to an event center or a retreat space, that people will allow you to promote your event, that they will put it on their calendar, on their website. And one of my favorite ways is to work with affiliates. And that is your best form of marketing dollars versus running ads. You want, again, people who serve a similar clientele to be out sharing, because there you're getting like that referral effect, right? They're saying, my friend Carl is doing this thing, and I know Carl, you need to know Carl, show up for his event, right? And that really helps. And then you pay some kind of a commission or a fee for any leads that close through that channel. But again, you're building the buzz, you're extending your network. People are seeing you as being connected. They're seeing you elevated into more of an expert kind of role. And so those are some of our favorite ways to be able to do it. And I had a conversation with a guy who reached out to me on LinkedIn just this week, and we were talking about event promotion. And I said, there are a lot of people out there who have huge email lists, but they don't segment them by demographic. So reach out to the people that you know who have large lists. Find out, hey, I'm doing an event in Denver. Do you have a segment of your list in Denver who would be interested in this kind of an event? And see if you can tap in, because they don't need to send it out to all their people. If they have people who are in Europe or Canada or Mexico, they're probably not going to come to your event in Denver. But if you've got people in Denver, maybe in Phoenix, maybe in Dallas, maybe in Kansas City, maybe all of those people would, because that's an easy, quick commute. It's relatively inexpensive to get there. And so really think outside of the box. Think about, who do you know? That, again, looking at the power of relationship in order to grow your business, because people want to help you grow. And if you're reciprocating, I was on a podcast recently, and one of the ladies said, I really want to be able to collaborate. She picked up the phone and called me about 6 weeks later, and she's like, hey, I've got a promotion. Do you have anything coming up? Can we cross promote? So you want to be able to create those kinds of relationships, so when you've got something coming up, if you've promoted for someone else, they're going to promote for you and get the word out. But I will tell you, the majority of your people will come through a personal invitation, through an email invitation, a phone call, more so than they will from any kind of ad or any kind of social media post. You really have to dig into the relationships that you have to fill an event, especially a really large event. And then there's some strategies too that you can use in social media, that if you have somebody who shows up give them some kind of a graphic that says, hey, I just signed up, won't you join me? And so you empower the people who are in relationship with you in your community to go out and be your marketing team as well. And so they're getting you in front of other people who are your people too, right? And so you just want to be really selective, be really clear about who your avatar is, be really clear about who your power partners are. That's really important, because you can get the word out to everybody, but if they aren't the right bodies, it doesn't matter. And so be really, really clear if you haven't pause and figure that part out before you move forward.
Right. Are you saying we have to go back to relationships?
Yeah.
I love that.
I know.
Oh,
The
right.
R
The
word, the
relationships.
R word.
You know, it's interesting. You got me thinking about power partners now and segmenting your list. Like, I don't think with our email list, I don't think about that, to be honest. I don't think about the specific location. You know,
Right.
I try to focus more on virtual, you know,
Sure.
but that's so important because even during these times, things are shifting, you know, even from the time of COVID, things are shifting. Shifting, you know, and I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure you see a lot of shifting going on and you're paying attention to that, you know.
absolutely.
Seems like that's one of your strengths too. Keep that pulse.
You've got to, you've got to.
Right.
And, because that's how, as entrepreneurs, we stay relevant.
Right.
When I lost my mortgage company, I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't plan for the industry to crash. I didn't have any exit strategy. We were going regional. That was our plan. And it was like, you're going nowhere. Because all those tools disappeared overnight. We had no control, we had no warning. So when I entered the online business world, it was like, all right, how do I recession proof my business? How do I make sure I can always be relevant? And I've had lots of iterations of my business. Next year will be my 20th year in business. And I have done lots of different things through my business. But when COVID happened, that was another event that happened kind of overnight. Nobody was prepared for businesses shutting down, jobs going away. I was able to pivot my business and teach people how to do what I did, back in 2008. And so sometimes we go through some really uncomfortable and difficult experiences to prepare us for something 10 or 12 years down the road that we have no foresight for. So always keep a pulse, always look at what skills and experiences do I have are transferable into my next thing, whatever that is. How can I use my story, my experience, my skills to lead an event, to host a retreat, to collaborate with other people to create this thing that's bigger than all of us together? I have 4 friends. We all come from very different aspects of business. We're working under the title of SCALE, Sales, Confidence, and Leadership Excellence. And we're going across the country hosting live events for business owners who are just getting started or who have plateaued and haven't figured out what that missing link is, how to get them from 5 figures to 6 and from 6 to 7. How can we do that? And so, you don't have to do this alone. You can partner with other people to be able to turn that dream into a reality. And that's huge. That's huge because, again, you're modeling that idea of, I'm in relationship with these women. We don't just show up on stage and speak and go our own way. We talk about every aspect, about the planning, the messaging, the content, the follow-up, the offer. We're in it to win it together. And so, again, that whole idea of who do you surround yourself with? Who are those 5 people in your inner circle? Why do those 5 people matter? And do any of them need to be evicted from your house, right? Do you need to invite somebody else in? Because you can't invite more in unless you get rid of the stuff that you don't need. But you need to be really cognizant of who those relationships are with and how do you all benefit from those relationships. It's really important when it comes to business building.
Just
really
writing all this stuff down.
Mm.
No, I like that.
Yes.
The house thing that like I heard a quote that like if you look at someone's top 5 friends that they hang out with, you can kind of tell a little bit about who they are. because you
Mm-hmm.
are who you hang around. You can either sharpen each other or
Yeah,
you can, pull each other down. And that's the
that's
reality of
right.
it. Just you got to make sure that you surround yourself around people that are like-minded. You don't have to do
Mm.
the exact same thing. Although you have some people that do the same thing. That's why you have like teams. I think you have like teams of people. You have a team of having fun, your team of playing games, your team of working together, collaboration, and your team of improving. You have different selects of teams, but you got to make sure that you
Yep,
put your energy into the right ones at the right times.
Mm.
exactly. Exactly. That is so true. I was going to Indianapolis to speak with this group of women. It was our maiden voyage event. I was so excited. And, I teach people how to write a book, turn the book into an event, turn the event into a coaching program or some kind of offer, right? So this whole idea had come to us in January. This event was in April. So I'm trying to figure out how to write the book, get it all turned into a digital product, and then turn it into a speech and do all these things. So I had been crazy busy. The
Mhm.
morning I was leaving for the event, my flight was canceled. And it wasn't easy for me to get from here to there. I spent the morning trying to figure out other flight options. There was nothing last minute. Everything was sold out. Finally, they find me a flight that leaves at 3:30 Denver time, gets into Indianapolis at 1 a.m. And I was supposed to be speaking like around noon. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be tough, but I so want to be there. So I
Mhm.
get to the airport and they don't start boarding until it was time for the flight to leave. I
Mm.
had less than an hour to change planes in Dallas, plus there were thunderstorms going on. Well, while I'm waiting, it becomes evident that I'm never going to make that connection in Dallas. So it's like, what's my choice? What am I going to do? Do I get on the plane and risk being stuck in Dallas? And then I can't even really speak virtually very well because of my return tickets and all of the timing, whatever. So we had to make a call that I wasn't going to go and that I was just going to speak from Denver. And so we had to determine together what's the best course of action? How are we going to make this the best experience that we can for the attendees without you being live in the room? You know, I had shipped all of my books. I hadn't even seen my book yet because it was so close and getting everything done. All my books went to
Oh,
Indianapolis and we were going to
Wow.
do a book signing, this big book launch thing. And, and it was like, no, that's not what happened. So it's like, well, what can we do? So we did a raffle for the books instead and did some pictures. And, we made lemonade out of lemons that day.
yeah.
But you know what? We modeled to these women that sometimes, no matter how hard you plan, no matter how meticulous you are to the details, things happen outside of your control and you have to be able to roll with the punches. And it's the people who are in it with you that determine. The first words out of those ladies' mouths are, what do you need from us? How can
Wow.
we make this work for you from home?
Wow.
What needs to happen here? What can we do? It wasn't like, oh no, this whole program is shot. It's not going to be what we thought. You know what? That's okay. And with every event that you plan, I can guarantee you that everything is not going to go according to plan. There will be glitches. There will be things that are unforeseen. That's just the way that it is. So make sure that you're surrounding yourself with really great people on your team. Don't try and plan your events alone. You need to have at least one other person who is with you, who has another set of eyes, who can look for things from a different perspective, and
Right.
somebody who can help brainstorm ideas, and somebody who can come up with solutions in the moment, because
Mm.
sometimes that's what happens. We didn't
Right.
have a lot of time to figure things out. Luckily, we had a great tech team who was able to figure things out and get things set up. And so from that aspect, totally seamless to the people in attendance. You know, we've had people, all kinds of crazy things over the years that have happened, between weather. We've had leaks in ceilings. I did an event where we had Cirque du Soleil people performing on a plexiglass stage on a pool. And
Mm.
the wind came up and picked up their stage and dumped them in the water.
Ooh.
Um,
Wow.
Yeah, it was brutal. It was in October in Colorado. So as you can imagine, it was cold. It was cold. But these things happen. So what do? What do? You pick up the pieces, you think on your feet, you know, you save the tears for later. Sometimes there are tears, and that's okay. And that's
Right.
okay. You know, it's been 20 years, maybe 25 years since that event. People are still talking about that event. It was a memorable moment. It was a
Mm.
teachable moment for my colleagues. What do you do? What do you do? In 9/11, I was doing events. We had people on planes that were involved in the 9/11 situation. What
Oh,
do you
wow.
do? What do you do? That's real-time problem solving in the moment. Nobody could have foreseen any of those things. How do we track everybody else who's coming? Where are they landing on the ground? How do we get them back home? All of those things come up. And so as you're building your business, know that things are going to happen. Know that things aren't going to always go according to plan. There may be some pitfalls. There may be some huge mistakes. Some of them might be your own doing with the own choices that you made, but there's always a chance to recover. There's always a chance to start fresh with a new decision. Just keep showing up for yourself. Keep building those relationships with people who have your back, who can be your cheerleader, who can stand beside you, who can hold you up when you don't feel like you have the power to do it on your own. And you're going to get to the other side. You're going to be stronger. You're going to be wiser. Your business is going to flourish because you didn't quit. You didn't give up.
Mm. Dang, Anza. I think I'm gonna
Love
after
that.
this. I think I'm gonna write me 2 speeches. Man, I'm feeling good about life. Man,
Inspired. I know, right?
jeez, I'm
I know.
inspired. Oh, woo.
You got to
Right.
catch me in the morning. All this comes out in the morning. People who get me in the afternoon got nothing.
Got it. I wow, that was so
Oh,
inspiring. Wow. Oh my goodness. I got a question for you too. I got another question.
yeah,
What are some of the
yeah.
biggest mistakes? Some
Mm.
of the biggest mistakes that service providers, have made they can make when it comes to planning events and live events.
Sure. Sure. So the first mistake is not knowing their avatar.
Mm,
I mean, that is truly the biggest mistake because if you don't know who you're serving, you're not going to plan an event that meets their needs. And kind of akin to that is making the event what you want it to be. You know, you're the center stage. You're behind every decision. You know what? It doesn't matter if I like filet mignon. If all of my people are vegetarians, I better not have meat on those plates when I'm serving food at my event, right?
mm,
I need to make sure I'm giving content to them the way they like to be fed content. You know, I'm a fire hose girl. I want it all. Give it to me. I'll sort out the part that I don't want or don't need or put it aside. Just give it all to me. And that's how I tend to put content out, because I was like, I've got to build value. I've got to let everybody know everything I know. No, sometimes that really overwhelms people. So you need to know, how do they like that to be set up? Do they like conference style? Do they like breakout sessions? Do they need more time to network? Do they want to have a VIP experience? And so those are a couple of, they're, like you said, they're kind of tied together, but those are the really big mistakes that people make. And when they
mm.
don't see the reason why they should show up, what's in it for them, they're not going to register. Um, I'm sure that you've heard this term, a confused mind never buys, right?
Right.
A confused mind never sells either because they don't know what they're offering. They don't know who they're talking to or what they're selling them into. So you've got to pause and have that clarity so people are clear on what you're offering, so they're clear on what they're saying yes to. Because if they don't really
Mm.
know, they're going to go to your competitor who is giving that clear message. And they're going to say, yeah, I'm going to show up over there because they said XYZ and you said ABC and I'm shopping for XYZ. So I'm going over here. So you've got to really move beyond the myth of anybody and everybody can be my client, because if you continue to believe that, nobody will show up. And so
Mm.
you've got to niche down in most cases. You know, if you're selling a blue big pen, that might be a little bit different. But if you're selling an event, you've got to know somebody's looking for a fuchsia highlighter and not a yellow highlighter, right?
Right.
I don't want a Sharpie, I want a highlighter. You know, and those little nuances matter.
Right.
They matter. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Ooh.
It's so easy to look over like at a peer, like a competitor, and like try to like I heard a reference that like they have things on their table and we have things on our table, and sometimes we can reach over their table and try to be like, I'm inspired by that. Let me try to do that. And there's a balance to it, because if you try to be like them in that aspect, then it's not going to be authentic. Like you said earlier, you like to be authentic, and you're not going to be your true authentic self if you're taking what they have and trying to be that. You can be inspired by somebody and try to implement in a way like what they do. But I think take what they have and what their gem is and make it like replacing your gem, who you are, to that, it'll literally like it will work against you. It literally works against you and brings them to them. You know what I mean?
It really does. It really does. And, you know, I'm a huge fan of emulation. If there is something out there that's working, let's say a VIP program where you have your speaker who happens to be an author, they're going to do a book signing. Emulate that. Absolutely. That's not copywritten. That's not stealing content or ideas. You're choosing a method or a tactic that has proven to be successful, that draws people in. Those things are really important to say. What's working with my clients or with my competitors? What's working for them? What's selling out? Emulate that. Emulate the style that they use on their sales page. Make sure it's your own content, your own ideas, your own twist on things. But if there's a style or a format that's working out there and it's repeatable, then do it. McDonald's didn't become who McDonald's is by flying by the seat of their pants and changing things up. They had a method that worked. You need to find the method that works for you and repeat it. Repeat it. This is the method that I need. This is what my people want. This is how they want it. This is how I'm going to do it. So, search your competitors, see what is up, see what's working, and then turn it into your own special sauce. That's really key.
Yes. Yeah. yes. Anza, what
Yeah.
would you say to a service provider who lacks confidence about throwing a successful event?
Great question. We can only achieve what we can see and believe, right? So I would ask you the question, who do you need to become to be the person on that stage hosting that event? Because we all need to grow from the inside out. I was recently working with a client who does an annual event, and he has always brought in people with big names. And he said, I have realized that I need to be the person on that stage if I'm going to grow to the next level. Wow. The fear was, again, I'm not enough. I don't have that level of celebrity. What do I need to do? So look at your core values. What are your core values? What is out of alignment for you? How can you stay in alignment to become that next iteration of yourself? Surround yourself again with those people in relationship who can tell you what you need to hear as you are becoming. But start thinking of yourself, your future self, as that person that you need to be. Know that you're enough. Create those mantras if you need to. Take those small risks. But more than anything, surround yourself with people who are going to support you. Because if you really want to do it, you can do it. You absolutely can. You just have to put one foot in front of another, show up for yourself daily, and take those steps. But it's really about, who am I becoming? Are there things that I need to unlearn? Maybe. Do you need to improve your speaking skills? Probably. We all do. I don't care how good you are, how many speeches you've given, how many stages you've stood on. We can always be better storytellers. videotape yourself, watch yourself, which is so horrific. I know when I'm thinking about an idea, I look up to the left. It's like, I should have one of those little thought bubbles up above my head sometimes. It's like, what am I thinking? I may never get rid of that tick, but I just know that's a part of what I have. What do you do with your hands? Do your hands just dangle? Do you just hold them in front of you? Do you put your hands on your hips? Do you stand off on one hip? What are your mannerisms? What things could you do that you're in control of that you could improve? Do you use filler words? I pick up on words that people say all the time. One of the people that I talk with a lot, they say, right? And sometimes after I've talked with them and I do a speech, I'll be talking, right? Blah, 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 right? And it's like, oh, I'm doing it, man, I've got to stop it. And sometimes it comes to me right in the moment. Or, you know what I mean? People say the word like, or they say the word however, or they say the word but, so think about the way you're phrasing things. What could you do better? And then, the other thing is hire a coach. There are speaker coaches out there. There are people like you who work with people to have presence on camera. What do I do? Where do I make eye contact? For me, it's so hard because I always want to look people in the eye on the screen. I need to be looking up at the camera, but I can never do that because I need to see. Is what I'm saying landing? What's happening with your mannerisms, your expression? Are you looking down and taking notes and not, oh, yeah, or are you like leaning into me? Are you mirroring what I'm doing? Those things are all really important. And so if those are things that you don't know how to do, that's a skill that can be honed. But work on personal development, on mindset, on belief. I mean, that's really if you want the confidence. And if anybody's looking for any resources, I am like the resource queen when it comes to personal development stuff. So reach out and I'll share my book reading list with you guys.
Yeah, so that's the next question. Where can people find you? And do you have any literature out there? Wink, wink.
Wink, wink, wink. I am so excited. So I make it really easy to find me. You can look for my name, Anza Goodbar. My website is Bankable Events, but I have Anza Goodbar pointing to Bankable Events. So if you can't remember that, just remember Anza Goodbar. You can find me on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on my website. And I have 2 books out. And a third one that will be released soon. I know, I'm so excited. The first book is The Art of Planning Live Events. And it really takes business owners through the concepts of what they need to be able to do in order to get this done. It's a high-level overview. Oh, look at you. And then the second one is Stop Losing Money Making or Hosting Live Events. And that's really all about mistakes that I've seen people make over the years and how to be able to stop doing that so they can truly monetize on their events. And then I have a new book, like I said, coming out soon. So you can keep an eye on my website for that.
I'm getting that book too. I'm going to get that one too.
Yay. Well, I will let you know when it's out. And so, yeah, we're super excited. I think that, like Jim Edwards says, right, there's no authority without author. And so get out there, write some books, people, change some lives, turn those events or those books into live events, do some book signings, get on some podcasts, get on stage.
Yes. Write some books, change some lives. Yes, I love that.
Right? Change some lives. That's what we're here for, right?
That's what we're here for. That is what we're here for. That is real as the air. I love that. I love that you said that. It's simple but so true and so it's so important for us to do. That's purpose right there. Yes.
That's right. It's purpose. What is your purpose? What's your soul calling? Why are you here? Why are you here? It's not all about just making money. I have some clients who don't care about making a penny. They only care about the impact. If they make money, great. If not, I don't care. As long as I can pay my bills, that's all I want. I want to know that I left the world a better place when I'm gone. That's what they want to do. And so, know your people. What's their purpose? What do they want at the end of the day? because what you create to sell to them, how you sell it to them, makes all the difference in the world. All the difference in the world.
Yes.
Don't sell meat to a vegetarian.
Yes. Please don't.
Right?
Right.
That's right. Right.
Anza, thank you so much for joining us. This was such a rich conversation, and our audience you all getting great value here. If you don't know, now you know.
Now you know. Carl said it. It's gotta be true.
There you have it. We hope you enjoyed our podcast. If you would be so kind, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and or if you're listening to any of our platforms, whether it's Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whichever one, please be so kind to give us a 5-star rating if you enjoyed the podcast. And we'll talk to you soon.